Hi, welcome to episode 2 of Robit Devs. Today we are going to talk about the new animation system for the player that we developed a few months ago that was mentioned briefly in a blog post, and I showed some animated GIFs, whatever. But this is going to be a little more in-depth. First, so you can see, here's the new animation. There's running while attacking, or jumping while attacking, running while attacking, idle attacking. The new animation system is different than the one we had before. Before we had a frame-by-frame system where the player was split into a few different pieces that allowed us to do things like, running while attacking, etc. But now you can see we do it a little bit differently. And I'm going to get into more detail about how that all works, including showing off the tool. And then I'm going to actually make an animation to show you, the whole process, and then I'll show you how it looks when I'm done. So if you want to compare how this animation looks to the previous one, you can go ahead and look at the old trailer, or actually I'll put a quick little clip here, or you can play the demo we released a little while ago, because we actually released the demo before we did this new animation system. So you're probably used to the old animation, and now we've got something new. So the reason why I have this bubble machine here is because this is going to be the animation we're going to make. When you jump into a bubble, currently it just defaults to the falling animation. But I want to have a special animation when you're in the bubble that'll be a little different. So that's going to be the animation we're going to make today. It's actually fairly simple, but it'll look good when it's done, I think. So as you can see, here's what it is currently. It just kind of defaults to the falling. And yeah, so next thing I'm going to do is show you the animation tool. So I'll be right back. Okay, here we are in our animation tool. It doesn't really have a catchy name or anything, but it works. So let me kind of show you, there's a lot going on here, so let me kind of show you the basics of it. Essentially, this is our list of animations that we can switch between. That's one that we're not using actually. But here's our running animation. This changes the speed over here, so I can adjust that. We can do running while carrying, running while charging, running while attacking. Now this one actually doesn't quite work right because I have to pull an event inside the game, although I think I can, yeah, I can kind of show you. The attacking animation is a sort of special case because the swing animation or speed has to be separate from everything else, but we have jumping, high jump, transitioning into falling, which also doesn't quite work right there. It looks more like that. There's some little hiccups because of the way this tool isn't exactly perfect, but it gets all fixed in the game. And so yeah, so that's basically some basic animations. So what's going on here? So there are a couple different elements to this. There's actually kind of two different things happening. The first thing happens over here, and this controls the arms and legs. I can select an individual arm or individual leg, and I get these little handles that allow me to adjust how the leg moves. So I want to give him like a really big kick, and actually that looks broken, but you can adjust this so you could give him, a real wide kick if you want, or you could make it real nice and narrow. And what happens is this runs on a cycle, which is counted up here from 0 to 1, and then it loops. So it goes 0 to 1, 0 to 1, 0 to 1, 0 to 1. And then the other thing is a cycle counter, and that tells it which cycle it's on. So it's on the forward cycle, back cycle. So it's 1, -1, etc. Now this is important because this allows me to do something like this, because right now what's happening here, and actually let me unlock the foot. So before the foot was locked to the bottom, which would be the ground, I can unlock it, and as you can see now it actually follows the entire trajectory of this curve. So what's happening here is this is actually on cycle 1 it's using a linear formula to determine the point between these two, or the distance between these 2 points, and then on the way back it's using a cubic formula, which then I can adjust with these. So that allows me, gives me a lot of flexibility in what I can do with the legs. So over here, I have some more control over that. So I can do linear back and forth, so it just goes along this linear path, or I could have it be cubic for both, so it kind of follows the cubic pattern for both. I can change the direction, so the direction basically just would change. Like I could make both legs moving forward at the same time, for example, if I wanted to do that, because currently they go opposite. I can reverse the actual sprite, which I won't be doing that very often, but there's certain cases, especially for the arms, where you want them to kind of bend the other direction. As you can see, it looks super broken. And there are a couple overrides there. I can also change the individual speed of the leg itself so that it moves faster or is slower than the rest of the animation. Okay, so let's reset, get back to normal. So that's kind of what's happening over here. It gives me a lot of control over the arms and legs and lets me do cool things with them that make it super simple without having to adjust any numbers or anything. It's all just done like that. Over here, I have what's more like a typical forward kinematic system. So I can change how many frames of animation, and they're not real frames, but how many essential frames. Let me see if I can find a good animation to show this first. Hang on. Probably the idle attack will be a good example. So ignore that it does a little weird thing at the end there. That's just another bug of this little system that doesn't happen in the game. Let me see if I can find a better one. Oh yeah, falling maybe? Yeah, falling. No, falling is also weird. It'll work though. So I choose in this one to have 3 different frames of animation. And for each frame, I can set any of these numbers that I want. And what do these numbers do? Well, they do a couple different things. They control different parts of the body. So the body is made up of different pieces, and I'm going to show you that here in a second. There we go. Here is basically all of the pieces that make up the animation. It is different torso pieces of different rotations, different sort of shapes depending on what I want to do. There's the hip piece, which as you can see has sort of these different rotated angles. The head, which also has different rotated angles. I have the sleeve piece, which goes over the arms. I have the leg pieces, which are made up of just a upper thigh and the lower leg. Arms, which are made of upper arm, lower arm, and then the second lower arm. And the shovel. A foot piece, there's a tiny little foot that goes over the leg, which allows it to be flat against the ground. And then the majority of these are actually facial expressions. So for each frame or angle of the face and for each expression, I have to have a different sprite. So this is actually the facial animations are kind of the most numerous of everything. So that's how the body's broken up. And over here, I have some control. So I can change the angle of the hip by changing this number. I can change the actual angle hang on, of it here. So and again, I can do this for each frame. So right now it's on frame 3. So as you see it on frame 1, it's normal. Frame 2 is normal, and then it starts transitioning to the angle I set it at for frame 3. I can change the offset of the whole animation like that. Then I have some control over the legs. I can move the legs forward or backwards. And same thing with the torso. I can change the animation piece for the torso to all different things like that. And offsets. I can do the same thing with the arm. Change all the arms. So you get the idea. Let me go back to, let's do this one. Go back to this animation. So the other cool thing that I have here, this first column here lets me do all that sort of stuff. It lets me change things for an individual frame of animation. But I also have some things over here which are kind of automatic. abilities. So for example, I can change the hip angle to have a 10, and what that does is it automatically will do like essentially a sine formula back and forth for that angle of 10 degrees back and forth. I can do the same thing with the x coordinate, and I can do the same thing with the y coordinate. So as you can see, like, this looks ridiculous, but with a little nuance, you know, there I'm kind of, as you can see, like, I can pretty quickly have a basic sort of like up and down jumping thing, which required almost no work on my part, just changing a couple numbers, and I've got it, which is really nice. Obviously that would need some work, but actually I can show you, I have an animation that sort of does that, this one here. So this is a, let me reset. This is sort of like a celebrating animation. Of course, we can change his face to be more excited while he's, there we go. So that's a bit of an example of that. And so I can also do those same things I showed you with the torso. I can do them with the arm. And again, the arms transition back and forth. And I do that during the running. So as part of the running, the arms are not just moving back, like rotating back and forth, but they're also moving back and forth. So this is, you know, this is the basic how the system works. I change these numbers to do various things, and they all sort of work in coordination with each other. This all gets exported to an array, a couple arrays, which then gets imported into the game, and I just call whatever animation I want and at which speed I want to play it, and that's it. So it's a very cool system. It's a system that's only specific to this character. I can't use it for you know, enemies and other things. It's not that flexible. It's not. It's really just to be used for. Okay, great. It's just to be used for this player, but for our purposes, it works really nice. Now, what I'm going to do today, I'm going to restart, import fresh animation, make sure I didn't break anything. I want to make a new animation for when he's in a bubble. So I made a new one. This is a blank template. The first thing I usually do is start with an animation that already is similar to what I want. And in this case, it's actually going to be the digging animation, only because he's got the right, most of these frames are in the right. I want him to be facing forward. So I loaded that, and I can go down here and save it. And it doesn't quite save everything, all the positions, but it saves some of the basic stuff. And this will be enough for us to work. So first I'm going to turn off the shovel, because I don't want to see that. And I need to bring the hips up higher. Probably maybe around there. Let's do the position the arms and legs. So I kind of want the arms and legs aren't going to be moving too much, right? Which will be easy for our purposes. Oh, actually, what is going on there? Oh, okay. I know what that is. I think. Huh, that's kind of weird. He's got a little stubby arm. His arm disappeared. And I don't know why that happened. I might need to... Huh. Arm scale. Let me try this. Okay. Alright, I think there is a problem with importing or saving the overwriting the animation. Let me go back to digging again. No, that's weird. Okay, so let me start with the idle. There are some weird bugs in this that I haven't worked out, only because it works for my purposes, and every bug that I have to work out just would take time away from getting the game done. And if it works, this tool is never going to be seen by the public, probably. Well, other than this, I don't think I'm ever going to release this, so it doesn't matter if it's got some bugs in it. I mean, I should technically fix all that, but maybe we will at some point. We'll just start with this. This will work. Alright, so I'm trying to imagine that he's in a bubble. I'm going to have to change the arm offset. So this number here, right now, the arms are centered right here, right? This number allows me to change their center point. So I can just give that a 20, for example, and now it separates them by 20 pixels either direction. 20 might be a little much. Try 16, 18. I think that looks good. I can do the same thing with the legs. Right now, the legs have 7. I can give them like a 10. Nah, 10's too much. How about 8? And that looks, I mean, this is pretty good. The other thing I want to do is, you can see the feet are currently locked to the bottom because he's going to be floating. That doesn't matter. I don't have to lock the feet to the bottom. And okay. All right, so now the animate, let's make him actually kind of do something. Although, hang on, wait, I'm going to do, okay, so here's, remember before I was telling you I could reverse the sprite angles, and I think that's what I want to do here for the arms. I want them to actually, yeah, like be like that. Okay. And I might actually do the same with one of the legs, although that usually ends up looking weird. All right, so this leg bends this way, and this leg bends this way. If I take this leg and reverse it, yeah, that always looks really weird to me, like he's doing some sort of crazy dance. So don't think I'm going to do that. I can also mirror the hook, and I think in this case I think I like it like that. So if I play the animation, there's not much going on. He's kind of bouncing up and down a little bit, and that's because I have these set. Let me turn those off, and the head's bobbing a little bit. I'll turn that off. So now when the animation plays, he's really not doing anything, and that's fine to start with. So let me reset. I'm actually going to save this animation as it is right now, so if we mess anything up, I can go back to it. Okay, so now this is saved as a bubble animation. Alright, so this is actually super simple. I do kind of want him to be bobbing up and down a little bit like you saw before, so let's set that back to like a 4 maybe. That's probably too much, so 2. So he'll be sort of bobbing up and down in the bubble a little bit. I kind of want the whole, his whole body to sort of rotate just a little bit too. And this is moving too fast. It'll be much slower. It's like that as he's in the bubble. And what else can I do? So I can move the tip, and that moves everything. I could also add to that, like with the head, I could give the head a little bit of an extra angle, so it kind of goes a little bit further. And I think that's probably pretty good for that. And then we can make the arms and legs do something. So we kind of want the arms and legs to sort of float a little bit in the bubble too. And so like I said, I can do just up and down with a linear path, which is probably going to be fine. But let's try doing a cubic path here and see if that works any better for us. You see, I think it's going to be unnecessary. I think just having it go like up and down a little bit, and usually just a tiny little bit of motion seems to be enough. You don't need to have these too far. And sometimes I need to stop the animation to really adjust these properly. See, even that's probably too much. Let's do a little bit. And you know, this is something where I'm going to have to put this in the game and see how it even looks. Probably come back and tweak it again. So we might not completely finish this. I just want to kind of get something rough and then put it in the game and show you guys and girls what it looks like. All right, so let's do that for that arm, and let's bring this one like this, and we'll do the same thing. I'll see now. See, they're sort of going in reverse direction, so I can fix that by clicking that, and now they go up and down together, which I think looks probably better. Okay, And now I need to do something with the legs. So I kind of want them to go. I think the legs might have to go move on a cubic thing and do it like again, I don't want them to be moving too much, and I think it needs to start over here. This might be harder to do. You know, this might be harder to do than I thought it would. I kind of have it in my head how I want this to look, and sometimes it takes a lot of tweaking to get that. Yeah, that looks awful. Although I might be able to make this work if I do him with his legs completely straight like this. Oh, you know, I also have a bug there where his foot doesn't get reversed, but that's fine. I can fix that. Actually, I think this might be more what I want, with his legs like kind of, yeah, there we go. So this is kind of what I'm imagining, where let's do that. There we go. This is kind of what I was thinking. So ignore this little weird thing with the foot, because that's going to get fixed. So this actually is not too bad. I mean, it's not perfect, but I'm trying to imagine him in a bubble, sort of floating like this. And I think that that might be close to what I want. Like I said, this is going to be tweaked, I'm sure. So don't expect see this exact animation in the final game. But think of it as a work in progress. Let's give him better face. I mean, I changed the face on the fly in this is ridiculous. By the way, I'm using Windows 7 install here because of the way Fraps work. So this is not my normal desktop or anything, and it just wants to install updates. It's being ridiculous, so ignore all that. You know, so this is probably going to be fine for our purposes of just a demonstration. I'm going to go ahead and save this animation and put it into the game, and I'll come back and show you what it looks like once I get it in. And we're back. So let's see how it looks. All right, there you go. So yeah, I'm actually pretty happy with how this turned out. I mean, there's going to be a few tweaks, I'm sure, but it looks a lot better in game. It usually does. Once you get everything, you know, in context, it usually looks a lot better than it does in the tool. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. I mean, he definitely looks like he's in a bubble, right? And it's better than what we had before, that's for sure. So cool. So that's pretty much going to do it for this episode. Thanks for watching. And hopefully I'll have some more, you know, coming up soon. For the next couple of weeks, I will be busy. I'm going to visit some family, and then I've got a convention in Syracuse I'm going to be at. And actually, now that I'm mentioning it, if you happen to be in the Syracuse area, Syracuse, New York, and you want to go to a small little convention, there's a thing called Retro Game Con happening. I believe it's at the New York State Fairgrounds, and it's going to be crap, and I don't even have the dates here, but it's like the second weekend in November, and you can just look it up at retrogamecon.com, and that's where I'm going to be. So yeah, so hopefully in a week or two I'll be able to do another one of these videos. I have a couple ideas for things I want to show. So until next time, thanks for watching Robit Devs, and yeah, hopefully I'll see you again next time. Bye. Wish I had more than 1.5 health, but... Oh, there we go. There we go. Oh, I think it's time to leave. See? Oh, every time I do that. Every time I should leave and I choose to explore, it always backfires, but...